Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to the Men Save Your Marriage show. My name is Terry. I'm your host. I did an autopsy on my failed marriage, and now I use the lessons that I learned to coach other men on how to save their marriage before it fails. I'm going to share with you the things I wish someone would have shared with me before my marriage failed. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hello, gentlemen, and welcome in. You just heard the intro, the music, and the bell. You know that means that we are in the ring to fight for your marriage. As you heard, my name is Terry. I'm your host, and this is the Men Save Your Marriage show. This is episode 58 in the overall show, and this is the 7th episode in our leadership series, Lead the Way. And we're talking about 10 foundational principles in leadership. And today, as we step into this 7th episode in the series, we're going to talk about probably the most humbling step a man can take. This isn't an easy episode, but it might be the most important one of the entire series. Because if you want to lead, if you want to rebuild trust, respect, and intimacy, if you want to save your marriage, if you want your wife to see you as a man again, as someone she can follow and desire and believe in, then you have to start with what most men avoid at all cost. You have to own the wreckage. Not just your version of the story, not just the parts that you feel justified in, not just the clean, easy pieces that make you look noble. No, that would be too easy. You have to own all of it. So you step into the wreckage your leadership created and allowed or ignored, and you're going to have to admit some things. You're going to have to admit the pain that you caused, even if you didn't intend it. You're also going to have to admit the distance you allowed, even if you weren't the first to pull away. And you're also going to have to admit the responsibility that you abandoned, even if your excuses felt valid at the time. Now, hear me clearly. This is the start, the beginning of masculine leadership. Not finger pointing, not image protection, not spinning the story. This isn't about guilt. It's not about shame. This is about taking your power back by telling the truth, by standing tall, by becoming the kind of man who can say, "This was mine. I see it now, and it changes today." This, gentlemen, is how we are going to own the wreckage, how we're going to take back control, and how we're going to no longer live a passive, under-challenged existence as a man. So let us dig in so that we can own the wreckage, so that we can stand tall, tell the truth, and take our power back. Shall we? Let's dig in. Point number 1. You can't lead what you won't own. Now, you've heard it said, lead by example, but most men really think that just means work hard, provide well, and keep your nose clean, right? And that's just kind of what it is in this culture, if that's leading by example. But that's not what leadership means, at least certainly not in a marriage, not in a home, not in a kingdom either. Leadership means you go first. You've seen the images, the difference between a leader and a manager probably. They've memes where the manager is in the back and prodding the people to go on ahead of him, but the leader's out front clearing the way saying, "Follow me." That's leadership. And in leadership, you go first. You go first in confession. You go first in ownership. You go first in humility. Not because you're the worst, but because you're the leader. So many men want their wife to come back to them, and they want their kids to respect them again, and they want their family to heal, but they're still walking around saying things like, "Well, she gave up first," or "She was cold to me. She's the one that cheated. She disrespected me in front of the kids." And maybe, just maybe, every bit of that is true. But here's the question that kind of separates the men from the boys. What kind of man do I want to become from this point forward? Because, well, blaming her, that gives her all the control. But owning your part, that gives you the authority to lead again. Let me say it another way, gentlemen. Blame keeps you weak. Ownership makes you powerful. Leadership begins the moment you say things like, no more deflection, no more blame. I allowed things I should have stopped. I failed to protect what I should have cherished. I didn't show up the way my wife, my kids, and my mission needed me to, and I take full responsibility. That is the turning point. What they say, how they think, what others think of you is irrelevant. This is what matters, and this is the turning point in your life when you take ownership, when you're the one that can look yourself in the mirror and say, I take full responsibility. All right, so let's get practical for a moment, shall we? Here are some patterns you may need to own, and I'm challenging you right now. Examine your own life as I talk about these things and be honest with yourself. Is any of this you? Are you drifting emotionally, being in the house but not with your wife? Are you using work as an escape, staying busy so you never have to deal with an emotional mess? Shutting down in conflict. Boy, it's easy to avoid tension instead of stepping into it with strength, isn't it? It is so much easier to avoid that tension. But as a leader, you got to step into it. Letting porn replace pursuit. Checking out of intimacy and replacing it with fantasy by letting pornography replace the pursuit of your wife. Or maybe you have the pattern of prioritizing everything except her, saying yes to hobbies or work or obligations, but never saying yes to her. Or finally, maybe you have the pattern of playing the victim, turning every hard moment into a reason why you're the one who's mistreated. Listen, this is not about being a monster. It's about being honest enough to say the hard things, like, I let these things grow in the house I was supposed to protect. I see it now, I own it now, and I'm done. That is how you begin to rebuild respect. Let me tell you a story about a guy that went from denial to dominion, and the man who changed. He needed to change. So his name is Eli. Eli looked like a solid husband on paper. He worked 60 hours a week to provide. He never cheated. He never raised his hand. He went to church. He paid the bills, and he mowed the lawn. He did all of this. I mean, he was just checking everything right off the list, right? But Eli's wife felt completely and utterly alone. Now, she had tried to talk to him. She had begged for deeper connection. She had asked him to stop avoiding conflict, to engage with the kids, to simply be present. And every time, Eli dismissed it. He said things to her like, you're overreacting. I'm just tired from work. Or, can we not do this right now? So over time, she gave up. She stopped trying. She shut down emotionally. And one day she packed her bags and moved out. That's when Eli came to me. He was still confused. He was still defending himself. He literally said to me, I never did anything wrong. I never yelled. I never cheated. I never lied. And he held himself up as blameless in the situation. But once we were honest and once we really started to evaluate things, you see, we discovered that he did neglect. He did emotionally abandon. He did protect his own comfort over their connection. So Eli and I got to work. The first thing I had him do was write a letter, a full page, not defending himself, not blaming her, just owning the wreckage. That was it. That was the win, to own the wreckage. Remember, I told you a few minutes ago, this is where you take your power back. So in this letter, he writes lines like this. I now see what I didn't want to see. I see that your loneliness was real. I see how I protected my image instead of protecting your heart. I see how I confused not being bad with being a good husband. I failed to lead. I failed to pursue you. I failed to fight for us, and I own all of it. Now, he didn't send this to her right away or give it to her right away. Instead, he sat with it. He let that truth really begin to work on him, and he let his pride die. Then he sent it to her after he had started doing some hard work on himself. He sent it to her with no demands, with no expectations. And she didn't move back that day, but something did shift. She started answering his calls again. She started responding to his text messages. She started softening to his pursuit, not because of an apology, but because of ownership. See, when a man stops defending and starts confessing, his presence changes. He becomes safe again. He becomes real again. He becomes worthy of following again. That's what happened to Eli, and that's what I want to happen for you. So let's move on. Excuses delay restoration. Now let's be clear about something. Excuses are poison. They may sound reasonable, they may feel logical, but they destroy trust. Every time you excuse your behavior, you delay the healing. Let's look at a few common excuses, and I hear these all the time. I use them all, if I'm being completely honest. Excuses like, well, I only shut down because she was so critical, or I didn't feel respected, so I stopped trying, or she stopped being affectionate, so I just gave up. She wasn't giving me what I needed. What was I supposed to do? These sound like explanations, but they're not. These are excuses. They're just fear dressed up in logic. And fear will never rebuild your marriage, ever. Excuses are the last defense of a man who doesn't want to face his truth. Here's what your wife hears when you excuse yourself. She's thinking he still doesn't get it. He's still blaming me. He's still fighting for control and not connection. But when you speak without excuses, when you say things like, this is what I did, this is how it made me feel, this is what I'm committed to changing. Now listen, if you take that step, she may not say it out loud, but she will feel it, and she's going to feel the shift in you as you stop making excuses and take ownership. Because now she's hearing a man take responsibility. Not a man trying to win, not a man trying to manipulate, but a man taking responsibility. A man who is finally telling the truth. That's where the rebuild begins. All right, point 3. But before we get there, I want to challenge you, gentlemen. Every morning I send out a very short, challenging email. No fluff, no mess, just straight to the point. And I want you to go to mensaveyourmarriage.com and sign up for the email list, okay? Get on the list. And listen, every morning when you open your email, when you check your email, if the challenge for today hits you and it's something you're working on, then take that challenge through your day with you and let it help make you a better man. Kind of an iron sharpens iron thing delivered right to your inbox. But if you open it and the challenge and what I'm talking about on that particular day has nothing to do with you, maybe it's an area that you have control of, maybe it's an area you're not working on right now, just delete it and move on. Don't worry about it. I'll see you back in your inbox tomorrow morning. So go to mensaveyourmarriage.com, get on the email list, do it today. All right, point number 3. Your future leadership depends on today's ownership. Now here's the hard truth. The man who hides from his past will be haunted by it. But the man who owns his past, he becomes a leader who can be trusted again. Ownership unlocks your future. It reestablishes your integrity. It resets your direction. It puts you back in the fight, not just for your heart, but for your mission. And let me pause here for just a moment, and as a personal anecdote, I built the Men Who Save Your Marriage podcast out of my own personal development and my need to take ownership of my failed marriage. You see, my marriage had failed and I had made excuses. I was living out all of the things I'm telling you right here in this episode. And I decided that I was going to take ownership and something good was going to come of my failed marriage. And what I decided was I would figure out the lessons that I learned, the lessons that I succeeded and failed at, the problems that I had, the things that I'm still trying to overcome, all of it, all the things that make me who I am. I was going to take ownership of them, and then I was going to figure out how to sit down and talk about it in such a way and maybe share it with other men and help them learn from my mistakes so they don't have to make them. So I am watching my own future right now kind of unlock as I take ownership of my past. Again, it reestablishes your integrity. It resets your direction. It puts you back in the fight. In my case, not for her heart because of the lessons that I learned too late, but that's what I want to change in you. You still have a chance. You still have an opportunity. So you have a chance to take ownership now and win your wife's heart back. This is what ownership does. So let me show you what owning the wreckage actually does. Number one, it builds credibility. Every time you name a failure without excuse, your words start to carry weight. Before you talked and she rolled her eyes. Now you speak with substance. She starts to think things like, maybe this is different. Maybe something really is shifting. Maybe he's not just trying to win me back, but maybe he's just becoming a man again, a different man. You see, that's credibility. That is respect. That's the beginning of new leadership. So the first thing that owning the wreckage does is it builds your credibility. The second thing it does is it clears the fog, okay? When you begin to own your past, the air starts to clear around you. There's no more debating old wounds. There's no more arguing over who started what. Who cares? You own it. It's yours, right? There's no more rehashing every disagreement, right? You own your side. You lead forward. Now you can cast vision. Now you can bring peace. Now you can create culture in your home because you're owning everything that happened in the past under your leadership. Because the fog of blame is gone now and the path is visible again. And that's how taking ownership can begin to clear the fog. So not only does it build credibility and clear the fog, it also restores your masculine integrity. This is where it all kind of comes together. Masculine leadership is not about being flawless, because none of us are. It's about being truthful. It's about saying things like, whoa, hold it, I blew it, I dropped the ball, I let us drift. But that ends here and now, today. And then you prove it, not with perfection, but with consistency. Your wife doesn't need a perfect husband, she needs a truthful one. Your kids don't need a perfect dad. They need a present dad owning, rebuilding as a father. That's what they need. Ownership restores your masculine core. It grounds you. It clarifies you. It makes you dangerous again in the best possible way. Those are the things that taking ownership will begin to do immediately. Build credibility, clear the fog, and restore your masculine integrity. Now, for your drills for this episode, I want you to own the wreckage this week. Now, let's get tactical, and I don't want you to just listen to what I'm saying. I want you to get off your ass and go act. 1, write the confession letter, okay? Sit down and write a 1-page letter to your wife or your child. Don't try to make it poetic. Don't try to justify yourself. Just tell the truth. Just be honest. Own every pattern that you ignored. Own every moment you withdrew. Own every cycle you protected or defended. Don't send it yet. Just let it sit. Let it hit you. It's got some work to do on you before you can ever send it to let it work on someone else. But let it strip away the old version of you. That's how you begin a confession letter. And number 2, the second challenge this episode is to speak one ownership statement this week. Pick one moment, just one, where you didn't lead well this week. Maybe you snapped. Maybe you avoided. Maybe you checked out. Now speak this. I didn't show up the way I needed to yesterday. That's on me. Here's what I'll do differently. That one moment of ownership speaks louder than 1,000 promises. When you can step back into the room and say, listen, I didn't show up the way I wanted to or the way that I needed to when this happened. That's on me. I own it. But here's what I'll do differently going forward. Now you're taking ownership. Now you're speaking ownership and changing the culture in your home. So that's the second challenge you could do. Now the third one, create a 30-day rebuild plan. Get specific. And I mean specific. What do you want to restore in your marriage? What needs the most attention right now? What will your wife feel from you daily? How can you help her feel in a different way, right? How will you demonstrate real consistent change? That can be pretty simple. Where have you been failing? How can you step into that failure and start to change it by taking ownership of the mess it is now and everything that it's been, but now you're going to take ownership and begin to change it going forward. So build you a rebuild plan. Look at the ways that there's been a mess in your marriage. Look at the way that you've been avoiding. Look at the way that you have not stepped up the way you should, and then take one of those, step into it, and over the next 30 days, begin to rebuild that area. You're taking ownership, you are creating hope, and you are rebuilding in this moment. Okay. I'm going to finish up with a call to action, and I want to challenge you, because you're here with a struggling marriage, to build with the marriage arsenal. If you're serious about rebuilding, and if you want to lead her heart, you're going to need more than promises. You need structure, action tools, reinforcements, and that's why I created the arsenal. You're going to get the connection cards, all 15 of them, to pursue her heart with intention across an entire calendar year. Pursuit missions, ideas and examples and ways that you can work to pursue her to build emotional consistency. There's 11 or 12 of those. And then there's the micro mission prompts, little ways that you can anchor your presence in small daily wins. There's 20 of those, all in total, 46 different ways for you to pursue her heart in this arsenal. They're not gimmicks. These are strategic tools, and they will work. Now, I want you to go to marriagearsenal.com and check it out. And I want you to grab your copy today. We'd love to send it out to you right away. However, go to marriagearsenal.com, take a look, and even if you're not ready to pick it up today, even if you don't have the money, even if you can't afford it, even if you're not entirely certain, whatever, fine. Scroll to the bottom. I am giving you an opportunity, and I have loaded for free a Just Because card. This is one of the micro mission cards, and all you need to do is download the PDF, hit print, and the instructions are on it. You cut across the dotted line, you fold the top, you write her name on it, you write your name on it, and you deliver it. Deliver it when she least expects it. You deliver it with intention, and you watch how it affects her. I dare you to do this. You will not believe what this one small micro mission will do for your wife. So, there it is. You've been dared. Okay? I dare you. I double dog dare you to go to marriagearsenal.com, scroll to the bottom, and get the Just Because card. Do it today. And then let's see if you're man enough to actually deliver it to her. Now you are taking ownership. So this is where leadership begins, gentlemen, as a final thought. Let's land the plane with this truth, shall we? There is no leadership, real leadership, without ownership. There is no rebuilding without repentance. There is no respect without taking responsibility. So here is your call. No more blame, no more silence, no more passive waiting. You are the man. You are the husband. You lead now. You own the wreckage. You build from the rubble. And that, brothers, is what men do. That is what fathers do. That is what husbands do. We own it. We lead it. We rebuild it. Now it's your turn. So go lead the way. I thank you, gentlemen. I do appreciate your time, and I hope this really does help ground you in how you can rebuild your marriage, rebuild your home, and rebuild your life. I thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out and make it a great day. I'll talk to you soon.